I was lucky enough to be born in a family that really believed in me and pretty much thought that whatever I wanted to do, I would be able to do. So I graduated college 4 months after my 20th birthday because I've been able to skip a grade in middle school, what we call middle school. And as you heard from Blaze, by 1965, I felt I'd already learned a lot about what not to do by working at both Macmillan in New York and Pergamon in Oxford. And so when George encouraged me, my former boss at Macmillan, to start a new company, and I thought that was a great idea. And since most of my dad's families had started their own businesses, I felt I could do that too. So we decided to name it Sage for two reasons. I had a list that really was focused on scholars. And of course, in biblical times, a sage was a scholar, a serious scholar. And George was playing with our first names, S.A. for Sarah, G for George, made Sage, and it was the only name on both lists. So I took that as a sign from above, and we went with it. We started the company. I started the company on my own because George was still at Macmillan as an executive. And I had $500 used in capital to start with, but half of that was a gently owned air conditioner. Just so remember, in New York in those days in the summer, if you didn't have an air conditioner in your office, you would melt and die. Anyway, around one of the things that I had sort of instinctively felt was that we should start a journal and then do a group of books around it. We would learn from the journal's editor and editorial board and the best of the authors, who were the who's who in that field, and build from that. And we made considerable progress doing that. And it enabled us also to do what George really wanted, which was move the company to the West Coast, away from the East Coast. And we did that a year and a half after starting. And it was a good idea and it worked out well. We decided that we would start Sage London fairly early so that we wouldn't feel the hurt of the money that was coming over from Europe to us in the United States if we did it sooner rather than later. And that's why Sage London was formed, built, or started to be built in just 6 years after Sage had, in 1971. When Sage Asia Pacific actually opened, it had the sign in Chinese letters that indicated learning has no borders. And that resonated with us and still does to this day. And I hope it will forever. We found out fairly early in our existence that research methods were very dear and very precious to social scientists. And that area, that arena, became what we call the jewel in our crown. And it still is, by the way. We also really felt strongly about innovation and what it would do for us. And I kept reminding people that publishing is a very people-intensive business, and having the right people was very, very important to us and still is. In addition, George and I in particular, feel and always have felt that our independence was critical. We often jokingly, but also very seriously, reminded each other, as I am reminding you all, including the people who are seeing this from abroad or from all over North America, that we are fiercely independent and we want to remain that way. And that's why SAGE was put with my voting shares into the trust. And the trustees' main job is to keep SAGE independent in the future. And I'm looking at a number of our board members who are here for the board meeting to remind you all of that fact. I also am very, very grateful that when David McCune, hi David, joined us in September of 1988 and became president of SAGE in 1989, and for the time that he was with us as president in late 1998, under his leadership, we enlarged our journals program to add the STEM fields, especially medical and engineering, to our flourishing social science list. And David is still here on the board with his son, Doug, who's also here. And they understand and have always understood why our independence was important and why it still is. And so I want to thank you all for helping us grow, for continuing to value that growth, and for enjoying and loving SAGE and what we do with SAGE. Thanks very, very much.